Okay, so we tried another more project math style question there with applying algebra or simplifying algebraic terms into a shape. Nothing too difficult there as long as you know all the different little bits and pieces. Now, it's always important to remember that from what I've found, or what my understanding of project maths would be, is that we're trying to link up as many different areas of the syllabus as possible. So one other way they could make this question a little bit different for you guys and more practical examples is question 27 on page 2. Okay, and in these questions what they've given you is, I think, a piece of wood. Let's think of it as a piece of wood. So a long square piece of wood, at least it's meant to look square, piece of wood. Okay, this piece of wood is going to be divided up into two pieces, one slightly shorter than the other. Okay, I'm going to do part 2 here, and then you guys can try out the rest of them. So when we look at part 2, on the bottom they've this little drawing underneath, and it says 6p plus 5, and these little arrowy things here. Now those who do technical graphics will know what those mean, or construction studies or woodwork or anything like that. These mean distance. So the distance from this end of the piece of wood to this end is 6p plus 5. And then they've got the same written up here, except it's from here to here. And the length of this piece of wood is 6p plus 2. And then the whole idea of the question here is to figure out how long is this chunk of wood here. Now, before we try and answer this question straight away, let's make it a bit simpler. Let's give you a numbers example. If I told you a piece of wood was 200 centimeters long, and I told you I needed one piece that was 150 centimeters long, how much wood would you left over? Well, some of you straight away will say, well, 150 from 200 is 50. But let's write that out. You start with 200. You want to take away 150 because you want one piece that's 150. Okay? How much are you going to be left with? Well, that's 50. That has to be that question mark there. 50 centimeters. So let's try and apply that to algebra. Exact same principle, but applied to with letters instead. Okay? So, again, they told us that the whole piece of the wood is measured as 6p plus 5. This little piece up here is 6p plus 2, and this piece here is the one we're looking for, question mark. Trying to figure out what the size of that piece is. So again, this is question 27, page 2, part 2. For those of you who are struggling to read my handwriting, okay, or understand the drawing. So, I told you that this piece, the big whole piece, was 6p plus 5, the whole length. And you know that the length of this piece is 6p plus 2. Now what are we doing with that? We're taking it off the whole chunk. We're moving it to the side. We're taking it away. So let's subtract it. Okay? So anytime you're subtracting something, it's very important that you put a little bracket around the outside like that. Okay? And we're going to try and find out how much is left over. Now, I think this question, is going to be a little bit easier for you guys to do it in your head. If we had 6 p's and we take 6 away, well, they're going to go straight away. That's all the p's gone. And then we have 5, and we have 2 to take off. So if I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I told you needed to take off 2 from that, well, you just knock them off, and you'd be left with 3. So the answer to this question, 6p plus 5 minus 6p plus 2. Remember the brackets now make that all one piece. We'll do a little bit more work on that. Would equal 3. Okay, so the length of this piece is 3. Now we're not sure what the units are. They could be meters, it could be miles, they could be centimeters, or it could be nanometers. Okay, which are really, really small.